Hey, I'm Elite Series Pro Dave Lefebre. Just finished 6th at Okeechobee, Bassmaster Elite Series. I'm going to show you how I did it. Just got home from the 2nd Bassmaster Elite Series tournament on Okeechobee, where I finished in 6th place. It was a trying week. You know, a good friend of mine, Kyle Mabry, had an accident the night before we started practicing, and he passed away, and he's got a young family and everything, and you know, it was just it was a rough deal. So I dedicated the event to Kyle, and after the first day, I was in 100th place with 7 pounds, and that's when I dedicated the tournament to him on the Bassmaster stage, and really thought I let him down. But the next 2 days, I think he was in the boat with me. So ended up with a 6th place, made the top 12. Wanted to show you what I was doing. There's quite a few different things. Everything was evolving. You know, the first day I don't even want to talk about, but you can go back and on Bassmaster and kind of get the gist of it. But the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th days are the days when I went to the fish that I found in practice, and I caught them a little bit different every day. So again, you'll be able to find all this information on Bassmaster as well. But wanted to give you a close-up look at the baits. 3 main baits: ChatterBait and a swim jig. So 2 different presentations. This was days 2 and day 4, and this was day 3. So I'll go through each bait here and show you the deal. With the ChatterBait, you know, I was mixing it up a little bit. When I first went in there on day 1, I was able to catch them on a little, you know, more gaudy color. These are all 3/8 ounce custom ChatterBaits, but the damage was mostly done on the green pumpkin and a green pumpkin swim jig. Both have the new Zako trailer designed by Brett Height, and there's really nothing better for a ChatterBait trailer than these. So you can see I was using a green pumpkin, dipping the tail in chartreuse, again 3/8, and I was using 20-pound Invisalign fluorocarbon. This is a Omen black. I mixed it up. I actually had 4 of these rigged up just in case. So I was using Muse rods as well, which are the ones that I helped design. Both 7-3 medium heavies. You know, you want a little forgiveness. You want that rod to be able to bend real good with a ChatterBait. You don't want anything too stiff. I think I covered everything on the rod. The reel is this is an Inception, actually, an 8-to-1. I'm just giving these a try. They're very inexpensive. As you can see, I beat the crap out of it in the week. Seems to be real durable. I got some buddies that have used these for you know, a whole tournament season, and they're pretty dependable. This is my old standby Concept E. I use the A's a lot and the E's. They're both great reels. A's are a lot more affordable. The E's are just what I have more of. So I was throwing 14 on the swim jig, and I was using a smaller jig than what are in the tackle shops down at Okeechobee. But you can see it's a Terminator. This is a 3/8 ounce. This is the actual jig. It's a green pumpkin color with red flake. And I might as well let the cat out of the bag since you're looking at my actual tournament, the one that I actually threw. I just took these out of the rod box. This is the trailer that I really like on these smaller swim jigs. So you can see it's the Yamamoto 4-inch double tail, real slender bait, green pumpkin. And I was using that a little bit, but I ended up going to Flappin' Hog. This is the smaller, the 4-inch Flappin' Hog. And obviously, if you know what a Flappin' Hog is, a lot of guys flip it on Okeechobee with the big weight. If you know what that is, I was cutting a lot of stuff off of it and making it into a jig trailer. This has been a secret of mine since the Flappin' Hog came out. I've been doing this, but my buddy Mark Hicks is about to do it. We just did an interview for Bassmaster.com about jig fishing, and it's going to come out of the bag soon anyway, so I might as well show you guys first right here. But as far as a jig trailer, I honestly believe there's nothing better, because I would use it if there was. So green pumpkin red flake was basically the attitude that I wanted for my swim jig. 14-pound Invisalign, a lot lighter line. I mean, the fish were finicky, the water was clear, it was super shallow, and I found that if I made longer casts, I was losing too many fish. There was too much cover. So, and it seemed like if I went down to the fluorocarbon, I was able to make those shorter casts as long as I was quiet and had my electronics turned off. You know, that's another thing I wanted to say. On the Lowrance HDS units, I had them on, but I was just using them for GPS. So both 7.3 medium heavy rods. The other bait, and this is what I caught the huge bag on, the biggest bag of day 3, 25.11 I think. So this is the rod that I used. It's a Muse Black. It's a prototype, and so you can see it changed a little bit after this. This is probably generation 2 or 3. We really went back and forth for a while on these, but the action, this is the one we settled on. So it's the same blank, and it's a 7.4 heavy, really good rod. One of my favorites for pitching stuff around. This is an EWG Superline hook. It's a 4/0. This is an 1/8 ounce tungsten slip sinker, 20-pound Invisalign fluorocarbon again, and the Sand Shuo. You probably haven't heard of this or haven't seen it, but you definitely want to get you some of these and try them where you live. It was amazing. I ordered them, got them at my motel in Okeechobee, and never had thrown one in the water until practice. Amazing, just unbelievable bait. You can see it's kind of got that, that punching beaver style body in the front, with the famous Yamamoto plastic, which you can't beat, and the tail is obviously shaped differently. It kind of looks like a leech or an eel or something like that. But with this lightweight, I was pitching into holes and dollar pads, and just like I said, on day 3 I covered every square inch of this eelgrass patch, and there was dollar pads mixed in, and this is what I was throwing in there. And it just it's an oversized, it's a big bait for a little tiny weight like that, and it just drove them crazy when it was sinking. So you always need to have a Senko tied up for when you miss a fish. I had some real good boils on a chatterbait, and instead of just throwing that chatterbait right back in there, I would have this thing, sitting there ready to grab, throw it out there, and I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 of the fish that I weighed in over the 4 days was caught on a Senko. This happens to be a 6-inch green pumpkin candy, and I rigged out on a 5/0. This is an EWG 5/0, and these are fish that already bit, so they're a little bit dumber than just your average fish. So I was throwing that on 65-pound Suffolk braid, which is 832, and this is a 3,500 yard spool of this stuff. I can't live without it. You can find it everywhere you go, and if you're confused about what braid to get, or somebody told you to try this, try that, honestly, your search is over. Suffolk's 832. When it came out, it won Best of Show at ICAST, and I've been using it ever since, and guys that are sponsored by other companies have been borrowing it off of me. So it is the best braid out there, and it's something that you definitely want to try. If you use it, you're not going to have to switch. You're not going to have to ask anybody any questions or anything like that. You're not going to go any further. It just don't get any better than that. It holds its color really good. Speaking of that, no matter what braid you get, you're still going to get, you're still going to have the fading going on. The 832 holds color really, really well, but at some point it will turn lighter and white on you. And I wanted to just give buddy down there, Trevor Fitzgerald, he makes this big marker, and he gave me one to try. It's called Permaline. And it's something that not everybody has, so maybe you want to make an order of these things. It's a huge marker. It's more of a paint marker as opposed to, the standard marker that we all use to color our line. But I was just going on that braid, and I saw, back in the first tournament I ever won in 2004, I saw Hackney doing this with his jig rods. And all I'm doing is, you don't want you... show you just real quick in case I usually just hook it up to my reel and then tighten it down so my rod's bent a little bit, and just mark up the line like this. And this marker is way better than anything I've ever used. So you just want to make that line nice and black, and for punching and stuff like that. If you put this marker and you use it the day before and get all your rods ready, you know, for the tournament, it lasts a long time. It's better than anything I've ever used, like I said. So thanks to Trevor for that. Big key for me. I'll show you. Here's the Zacos. This is what they look like. You know, this is the bag, and you can get all different kinds of good colors of these. This is a Senshuo, which I did not know how to say when I weighed in, because as you can see, the label is rubbed off. So I got the name wrong, but the fish knew what it was. So you want to try those. That's green pumpkin candy. That's the one I caught them on. I was also dipping the tails. You can see all the baits that I held up to the camera are all dipped in Spike It. A couple other things that I did that probably don't hear every day. You know, a lot of times we want our power poles to go down, you know, really fast. But there's a timer on here, and you can see when it's got 3 settings on it. So that's really slow up and down, that's kind of a medium speed, and then that's super fast up and down. So I set my power poles on the slowest setting, and I could always change that, you know, if I felt the need, you know, like they're biting really good and not skittish or whatever. I could change it, you know, in a heartbeat. But for the most part, I left those poles on a super slow setting. I wanted them to ease down in the water. You know, I wasn't moving around real fast. I used a power pole or a push pole a little bit too. But I had my trolling motor, for the most part, I had it on low, which is rare for me. I usually have it on 100. And I was just easing through this real shallow, clear water. And when I inched forward, I'd go real quietly, try not to disturb the water, and ease those poles down real slow. And it made a difference as far as how far I had to cast. I could still get bites if I was noisy. I just had to throw really far, and the chances of landing that fish are you know, just not as good. So I was wanting to fish as close to the boat as I could, and being quiet was the key. Another thing to make sure that I covered every square inch, and I knew, you know, I could go back and look at this and I knew what day was what. You know, if you keep your tracks all blue or black throughout 4 days, you have no idea what's going on. It's just spaghetti. So you can see I was changing the color every day. This is something I do all the time, but I figured I'd just mention it so you could see. This is my the main area that I fished. Day 2 was pink, day 3 was green, and then day 4 was that light blue. And that's just so that I could see the you know, everything I fished that particular day, because every day was different. I was fishing a different way every day, so it was just real important to know where you had already fished and where you had fished the day before and the day before that. A huge key, can't stress it enough, and it sounds probably like a broken record because you hear it from all the guys all the time. Sunglasses. You know, we had a cloudy day, a sunny day, a cloudy day. We even had a day when it was cloudy half the day and sunny half the day. One day there was not a cloud in the sky. These are my signature series glasses. They're solar bats. Timmy Horton actually wears a pair like this, and he solar bats anyway, and he won the tournament. Aaron Martins, a lot of the top fishermen in the world use solar bat, and it's because we know Gary. I've been with solar bat, I think 16 or 17 years now, and you know, Gary's an optometrist, and he owns the company, which is something, you know, special right there. But he really knows what he's doing. These glasses are literally $29. This is my signature series. You can get them at Bass Pro Shops. Get them online. They're in, I think, something like a dozen locations. I don't know the exact ones right now, but the easiest way is to just get them online. And when it's super sunny, you know, not a cloud in the sky, bright, I like this. It's like the original Mossback, if you've ever heard of that, Mossback lenses, but it's called I think it's like shiny green, and this is shiny brown. So it's more of an amber lens that I like when it's cloudy. So these two glasses I'm switching between every day. Sunny green, cloudy brown. You can't see if you can't see a bed bass with this lens right here, you're never going to see them. you can't beat solar bats in that you can get them for 29 bucks. So you can afford to get, you know, 3 or 4 pairs for the price of one, basically. The other thing you might have noticed on one of my rods, and I'm going to talk more about this, and you're going to hear a lot more about this. It's called a tracker. It's a digital type thing. It goes with an app that comes right on my phone, and it's unbelievable. And for a guy like me who's into statistics and into logbooks, I kept logbooks for 15 years back, starting in the early 80s or the late 70s, you know, when I was just a little kid. All through my teenage years, through high school, I was keeping detailed logbooks. And in a nutshell, this is getting rid of the pencil and paper. I'm sitting out here getting ready for the Classic and trying to get reorganized and get my head back on straight. Kyle Mabry, GoFundMe. It's a GoFundMe memorial account. You can look it up, search it on the GoFundMe, and keep donating money to them. They need everything that they can get. His wife and kids, Beth, Evan, and Emma, need your help. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and we'll talk to you next time.
Oh.
Good. Mabry might have a sheephead or might have his first Erie smallmouth of his life.
Oh, he's on the motor.
Trying not to get it snagging your line.
He just came up behind the motor.
Oh, I got one too.
Is that fun?
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big one. Get out of your way. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's your first one, right?
4-pounder.
First smallmouth ever. Let me see what I got here. Mine's gonna be bigger. You know, we're out here on Lake Erie. We're a pretty good run from where we're taking off up for the last tournament of the year. We're fishing out of Detroit. But what a heck of a way to start today. That's Kyle's first fish. 4-pounder, first one. First Erie fish ever.
Oh, yeah, you're bigger.
Holy
Swing it
smoke!
in.
6 pounds. Look at that.
Good
awesome.
gracious!
But hey, this is the first day of practice. We'll check back in with you a little bit later on. Good job, Kyle.